Good afternoon, everyone. Council is convened for council time, Wednesday, March 25th, 2026. Let's start with the roll call.
Counselor Young,
Here.
Counselor Belcott,
Present.
Counselor Little,
Here.
Chair Marshall,
Here.
and Counselor Fuentes is out today.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the agenda?
None today.
Okay, thank you. Then moving right on to public comment. And public comment during council time is on agenda items only, and you're limited to 3 minutes.
Bruce Barnes,
Good afternoon, councilors and chair. My name is Bruce Barnes for the record. I want to talk about the tax increase we're talking about for tribal policing that was on your agenda and law enforcement.
On the criminal justice sales tax, yes.
Yep.
Go
Yep.
ahead.
Yep. So I brought my property tax statements today on my 3 pieces of property in Clark County since 2005. And the amount of taxes that I've paid are unbelievable, along with a lot of other residents in the community. And I'm extremely concerned because I'm all for tribal rights and tribal this and tribal that, but they've got a casino that brings in millions of dollars out at the A&A, right? And I know the chief of the casino, and I know that they need law enforcement because there's a lot of criminal behavior that goes there. But I think instead of taxing the citizens, they should be bringing some of their profits that are nonprofit. They're nonprofit. They don't pay taxes. They should be bringing that money forward to help train the police officers in our community, right? Give something back. That's what I'm here for. In the criminal justice system, I got to tell you, it does not work. I've been basically on an investigation with my girlfriend for over 1.5 years now on this Keegan Anderson guy, and they still have not prosecuted this person, right? He's stolen about $3 million from this community. Every rental company he owes money to, multiple customers he owes money to, and they still have not arrested and prosecuted this person. So my faith in the law system is very skewed. And then when I see a person that owned an alcohol store in this community that has molested and raped young women, right? And they're prosecuting this person for 24 felony counts. But the leaders of our United States of America have done the same thing and they're doing nothing to them. It makes it very ironic and disgusting to me that we are following rules and regulations from our federal government or even our local authorities and paying taxes to a system that is so skewed. We've got to do something different. And I think that you guys are tasked with figuring out how to save the taxpayers' money. And I'll give you another example, this affordable housing project that they did for minorities, right? It was a forgivable loan. Now that's being investigated because the discrimination against other cultures for not being able to get that money. And they went around all these different nonprofits. They got free homes and paid off their credit cards. And you should probably look into that because it's happening right here in this community in the city of Vancouver. So anyways, I appreciate your time as always. And thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Carmen De Leon,
Yeah, my name is Carmen De Leon. I go by Mello. And just like he was talking about, I wasn't going to mention it, but I will mention it because they are tax exempt, and that is churches and the NFL. Imagine how many billions of dollars you would have, and this goes on legislation and taxes, so don't try and stop me. But if a church doesn't have a plan to cure homelessness, they shouldn't be exempt. I used to wonder why churches had so much land and money, because they're not paying taxes. If you can't help the homeless, walk the walk, don't just talk the talk, pay your taxes or shelter the homeless, because if all these churches helped, we wouldn't have this problem. And the NFL too, and what he's talking about. I mean, I'm just saying, but I was going to mention also on the legislative thing that I know that certain people like to copy what other states do because there are no leaders, just followers. But in this case, we want to follow the leader, because I happen to love what is going on in Florida, where they say they will kill child molesters. Justifiable homicide. These guys are over here raping, like he said, how many counts do you get charged with? And you get a slap on the wrist? When I did the research way back in the day, the average child molester got 6 months in jail, and then you have to register, and then blah, blah, blah. And the average bank robber got 7 years. Where are our priorities? It should be a deterrent, massive deterrent that you're going to be put in jail. Okay, they're going to get beat up, but also the threat of you rape a child, you get killed. And you know what? Castration doesn't work because they can use other objects because they're perverts. And it's a proven fact that a bum or a person who is shoplifting can be rehabilitated to give them a good job, give them an affordable home. Boom, you got a decent citizen paying your taxes. But you cannot change a child molester. They're unfixable. And that has been proven by psychologists. When they start raping little babies and little kiddos and anybody under 18 counts, then they need to go to jail for life, prison, and death. When they have fear of death for their crimes, only then will they be deterred from doing it. Otherwise, they know, I'm going to be registered sex offender, big deal. They're going to put me up in a homeless place right across the street from my kid's school. You know, I mean, come on, man. You know, protect our children. There's a cop, a sheriff in Texas who would not release to the whatever, went against the court's orders to release a guy who raped like 15 kids. You know, they shouldn't be eligible for release. They should be locked up forever, throw away the key, and face the death penalty. Give them what they deserve. You know, you cannot fix these kids. We get traumatized for life. I can say that because I was raped at 10. Show them no mercy. They didn't show me no mercy.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone online?
Caller? Caller, you've been sent a request to unmute yourself. Please do so. State your name for the record and go ahead with your comments.
Good afternoon, Kimberly Goheen, Albin. Good points, Bruce and Mello. I'll be speaking on the your staff report for the taxes. I read this over and stuff, but I'm just a little bit discombobulated today. With that said, it looks like you're going to be getting more behavioral health professionals. I'd like to know who they're going to help. They're going to help the indigent and or the jail system there, the Clark County Corrections, or are they going to help our officers and all this? It also mentions Clark County Public Safety. I consider our public defense a public safety matter. And with that said, the millionaire tax is not going to put any monies to the indigent defense system. I'm just wondering if this can do that, if somebody can be appointed, maybe Mr. Swaby from the Public Defense Department, and maybe get some grant monies for public defense. I see the auditor's offices, the sheriff office, and the jail services will be involved in this. And certainly whatever happened to building the jail, or at least cleaning out those lead pipes. There's lead pipes in there. Isn't that illegal? So, you know, public health safety, get rid of those pipes. I'm bringing it to your attention. Stop ignoring we the people. You guys are doing that all the day long. Again, also on going back here to your community planning work program, you have mentioned the climate action. So climate is our air. This morning on the Board of Health, I mentioned the geoengineering that's going on to the chemtrails that are crisscrossing Clark County left and right. Believe me, there's a lot of people out here that that know this and that complain about it. And I say, then why don't you speak up? Well, I'm working. I'm trying to keep food on the table, you know, stuff like that. So you guys have been forewarned. We want the chemtrailing stopped here in Clark County. We want our sunlight. We want natural beauty back. We want our health back. You know, it was mentioned also about lung issues, for God's sake. We're breathing that in. Believe me, when I go outside, I don't smell clean air anymore. And I know you guys know this. I've been mentioning at least for 5 years now, and there's other people that know it. A few other things on your let's see, I put it down. Oh, I can't find it right now, but on this that you're going to be doing, make sure that you, when you are said that you're mandated, weren't we mandated COVID shots? See, the
Okay,
word
thank you. Your
mandated doesn't
time
mean
is up. Anyone else? Okay, thank you. Then moving on with our agenda to old business, 4.1 minutes of March 18th, 2026. Are there any corrections? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. 4.2, criminal justice sales tax. Who will be?
So, yeah, our members of our auditor's office will be coming up to
Oh,
present.
Great.
And if I can start also, I want to just touch base on this as well to kick us off. Just as a kind reminder for council that the legislature did pass 2015, House Bill 2015, that provided 2 additional funding sources for law enforcement or public safety in our community. One was the grant, and then there was the 1/10 of 1%. Council did have several discussions on the tax portion. I think there were 5 starting in July of 2025. Council provided the direction to move forward with the 1/10 of 1% when we're eligible for the grant program. And so the grant has been applied for, and we did receive a verbal confirmation yesterday that we are in full compliance, but we will not be receiving that in writing for the next couple of weeks. So I just wanted to bring that to council's attention. But since we have that full approval, even though it's verbal, that tax will be starting in accordance with the resolutions that council passed on April 1st. So I just wanted to clarify that for council, for the record publicly, that we'll certainly have the written documentation coming from the state criminal justice training commission, hopefully within the next week or 2, but we did get the verbal yes, that we do meet the requirements. And I just want to express my appreciation for our auditor's office, for Jordan and our office, the jail staff, and the sheriff's office. They've been working on this very hard since last fall to try to get all of the requirements set forth in a new program that was evolving as they were submitting information. So is there any questions on the tax piece before we move forward?
Thank you for that context. Are there any questions at this time? I think we're
Okay.
good.
Thank you. And so the second part is on the grant portion. And so that's where the team here today is to talk about the grant portion and an application process for council's consideration today.
Okay, thanks.
Visual Kelly, Reporting and Analysis Manager. I have with me our grants program coordinator that was approved by council last year as a part of this biennium, this budget. So she has been working. I'll let Diane introduce herself, but she's been working hard on going to submit our application for this grant proposal that Kathleen was talking about. And so if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Diane Rathbun, and I started here at the county on February 23rd. Previously, I was at WSU working in the central grant office since around 2010.
Great. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
We've anticipated your arrival.
Thanks.
Yeah, so as was mentioned, this has 2 parts to it. Council already initiated the sales tax. And so this is the second part where we're applying for grants. We've been working with the sheriff's office and also the jail to establish and fill out the application to apply for the grants as a part of this funding that the state has provided. So this staff report is one of the requirements that we are presenting to council, requesting a review of authorization for us to apply for the grant.
Okay.
Yes.
And
gonna-
if I can just add, if we're awarded the grant, that would actually come back to council on a Tuesday meeting for final consideration. So this is really more of an informal thumbs up for the application of the grant.
Okay, are there details about what will be included in the grant?
We are currently I have not heard back yet. Oh, do I need to
Mike.
do something? Just touch it? Okay, sorry. With the sheriff's office, right now we're planning to submit hiring 5 new officers each of the 3 years. And then, and that would cover, the grant will cover 75% of their salary and benefits. And then, and associated costs. And then with the jail services, I have not heard back yet from them specifically what they're planning to include.
And the sheriff's office was supportive of this?
Yes.
Okay, because when I've talked to the sheriff, he was not inclined to use this funding for FTE at all.
Right. So this would be to help as we're building our fund balance for the sales tax that we're planning to collect. So it would be allowing us to have the funding that we're already going to be getting. And so we'd work with the sheriff's office to identify the positions or the support that's needed for the one-time costs associated with everything involved with hiring the sheriff's officers. That so it's a wide range of things that the grant can cover. Included is all of the costs associated with hiring, a one-time cost associated with hiring the sheriff's officers, including the implementation of all of their costs, and also we're working with the jail as well to identify those costs. This first round is available for us to apply for, and the application is required to be submitted by the 31st. So there'll be more
This month?
of this month. So that's what we've been working on to identify the funding that we anticipate is going to be needed prior to receiving the full sales tax that we are going to be using to fund the rest of these positions. So it's in preparatory of the full sales tax being received.
Great, that makes sense. And so we can implement more quickly than otherwise we would.
That's
Good,
right.
Good. Other questions?
Just wanted to say I'm fully supportive of this. Glad to have you on board. Super excited about that. And then, oh shoot, I lost my thought. Oh yeah, okay. Question about how the allocation process is. So there's three offerings at this point, but how are they selected? I mean, did they specify a limit on how much each jurisdiction could apply for, or are they going to maybe approve a portion of what we asked for? How does that work?
There was no limitations other than for the amount they would be willing to pay for salary and benefits. But I suspect that depending on the number of proposals they get, they may come back and say, hey, we only want to fund this X number of new hires. Could you adjust your proposal accordingly?
Okay, thank you.
So 100 million have been made available, and they're planning to have up to 5 different rounds as long as the funds remain. So in the first round, there's the most funds, and so it might be more successful to have the larger request.
So that they're competitive grants.
They're competitive.
Great. And I agree with your strategy, get in early.
Yes.
Okay, any other questions? If you're wanting a thumbs up, I think I'll ask for a thumbs up or a support. Yep.
Yeah, I'm a thumbs up. I just want to say hi and thanks for being here and helping us raise more money. I know you just started, but do you see other grants out there that we haven't had our eyes on before that you can help us get?
I've been kind of looking around and trying to see if I can find some, and have reached out to a couple of units with some different opportunities. They haven't been ones that matched well, but as I learn a little bit more about what each department does and kind of what their specific needs are, I'm hoping that I'll be able to find things that meet their needs.
Yeah, this is the second grant that she's
Yeah.
been working on. We've already submitted one.
Right, the clean building grant I worked on with Michelle, and we submitted that.
Great. Thank you.
Great. We love that. Okay. Well, thanks very much. We're all supportive. So
Okay,
good luck on that deadline.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on, to new business, 2026 Community Planning Work Program. So Oliver and Jose, good to see you again.
Yes, good afternoon, councillors, chair, and council members. For the record, Oliver Ojiako, Community Planning Director, and with me is Jose Alvarez, Land Use Program Manager. I have asked Transportation Public Works Director to also be online. I don't know if Ken is online, but this is a joint work program in my shop. I have land use and advanced transportation planning. The work program is one that I come to the council in the beginning of the year to approve, and I use the work program to prepare our budget, which you approve in December. So this is more formalities, and the work program for 2026 is structured into 4 sections: administration, land use, plan monitoring and implementation, and then transportation. What you see here, councillors, is under administration, you can see the program name as you go across from left to right. Then you have the program description, whether that is mandated. When you mean, what do I mean by mandated? Is it required by law, practice, or court order? Court order can be, as you know, growth management hearings decision, or a court order that comes out of that. We have to work through to comply. We also have annual and ongoing projects. And in that mandated column, you can see reference to the revised Code of Washington that we have to follow. Recently, and I think I've had conversation with the county manager on under administration, under item 3. It's not only unique to my department, but we are now required, I believe by April, can't remember the date, in April, to make sure that all our documents, materials are in digital form that can be accessed by everyone. This is really taking a lot of time of my staff to make our documents ADA and web content accessible. So this is mandated under the title of American Disability Act. And you can imagine in my shop all kinds of documents that we have put on our web page. All of that, we have to find a way, plus meetings with the Planning Commission and all the commissions that we serve. We have to make all of those now ADA accessibility to comply with the new rule. I don't think I need to go through each of these sections one by one, our program one by one. I hope that the council have had the opportunity to look at each one. And I'm just going to ask that they be thumbs up for us to continue. In addition to the periodic update, which all my staff are doing, we are also responsible for the Planning Commission. We are responsible for the newly formed Agricultural Advisory Commission. My shop is responsible for us provide support to the Commission on Aging, the Commission on Historic Preservation Commission, and support to the School Advisory, and then Bike and Pedestrian. So all this work is going on while we are still working on the periodic review. I have very dedicated and resilient staff They sometimes I assign them more than 2 projects. So what is not on here, we recently received on page 3 of 8 on the land use, we are responsible for any update in cooperation with ComDev, update to the Gorge scenic area management. Any update to that code is in my shop. And we just recently received, and I don't know, maybe the chair and county manager, you received a letter from the Gorge Commission about the need to update our Gorge code to be consistent with the recent amendment to that section of the code. So that is really what we have that we also do. And like I said, I'm not going to go through each of these. The new things that are there now is we are continuing to work on the HOSAP study. I know that the council gave us, I believe, 200,000 through the APA fund to continue the implementation of that study. That will be ongoing until we completely implement all the strategies and requirement as the council approved. The new thing we have is also housing. In relation to housing, I mentioned this morning that we are going to be working in collecting data that will be submitted to University of Washington Real Estate Division. I will be doing so in coordination with community development. We are supposed to provide that data to the state so that they can use it to make any further legislative changes. Under administration, anytime that the legislature is in session, we are responsible through the WASAC planning directors group to review. And right now we are beginning to look at, which I participate on. I know April used to be on that team when she was the community development director. We do review and look at new legislative bills that we can support or through the WASAC. I have meetings with them when the legislature is in session every Wednesday. And now that they are not, we are preparing on bills that they didn't get to and those that is of importance to WASAC. In the case of plan monitoring, that's where I talk about what we do. And you can get to page 6 of 8, that is our transportation section. This is what my transportation staff work on year after year. And we do get support from the road fund to support our transportation planning staff. So I will stop there, see if the council has any question or any particular item. What is not on here, I will say, is that the council is aware that I think it's Senate Bill 5820, which Jordan have been updating the council on. I don't know if the governor is going to veto that bill or pass it, which is related to the freight rail dependent use. So if the governor signs that, it will be up to the council to direct my staff on what to do, because currently we have an overlay, we have some policies. So if that bill were to go away, my staff will come before you asking, what do you want us to do? So that is not on here. I know we did add, because the legislature passed this new housing as well as climate. I'm happy to report that we are monitoring in terms of the implementation of that. There's going to be opportunities for competitive grants. We will go after that. We will let the council know when that comes up to apply for those so that we can continue the implementation of the climate bill. I will stop there, but today I'm just asking you, you hear me say that I am one of the department, if not the only, where the councillors approve our work program. So this is really formalities, and I will stop there, take questions that the council may have, but I'm looking for support to approve this work program. In addition to our periodic review, like I said, I have very good staff who knows what they're doing, and I appreciate the support not only from the council but also from the county manager. I do review this when I put my budget together. So I will stop there, take questions you may have.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions or comments?
Just
Go
real
ahead.
quick on the shoreline management plan, what is the no net loss? What is that referring to?
I think it's referring to protecting and maintaining the function of the shorelines. That's what it is, really, basically. I don't believe that, I know that was written into the bill, but as developments comes in, we document the approval, and sometimes we get review by Department of Ecology, and we monitor how things are developing to make sure that there is no loss of those functions associated with the shoreline. That's really what I can tell you.
Okay.
I have a couple of questions. I don't want to add to your long list of things you're already doing, but maybe there's just concerns that have come up in the community or questions that I thought maybe they fit into some of your work plan. One of them relates to the affordable housing data that needs to be reported. There's some in the community that are interested in being able to access that information. Is it annually that you're reporting, and how often is that reporting occur, and if it could be easily accessed just locally?
It's annually that we send that.
Annually.
Yeah, it's annually. And I recall a meeting that we have with another group that really wants to focus on what the county will be doing relative to affordable housing. You know, what I can say is that with the decision that the council made on, I believe it's 0.1% sales tax to support affordable housing. I don't know yet. I think when that was done, I see Marcus in the audience. I think the estimate was close to, potentially on an annual basis, close to 6 million. It's not a whole lot, but it is something that the council will play a role in support of affordable housing. And, you know, we don't know what's going to happen. There's opportunity for different types of grants through the home and other CBDG fund that supports affordable housing. So these are areas where in the future, as we look at support to affordable housing, the council will be the one making decisions on your support through funding and whatever funding may be available at the state level.
Right. I wasn't asking so much how we're going to meet the
Yeah.
gaps, but just what those numbers are, because now we're required in the comp plan update. We've identified the need in the county and with the cities, and how we're doing year after year, and what that gap is. And that's the information that I think folks would like to be able to access at the county level. So would that be a difficult thing to do since you're already, or not, reporting to the state?
I think after the adoption of the plan, we will begin collecting of that data and reporting it out to the state. I mentioned that I believe the legislature said that that report will have to go to the real estate division out of University of Washington. But in the past, we have to report that to Commerce, and they will use that information and report back to us, you know, how many units are they seeing in single family and what they call multi-units, so we can report that out. We used to report that out, but
Okay.
now this data will go directly to the real estate division of the University of Washington, and they will be the one doing what Commerce used to do, report that out. And then I don't know whether it's on annual basis or every 5 years. I'm not sure. I have to go back and look at that, what that bill says. When do they report? Maybe it's going to be on an annual basis, but if we send the report to them, which we normally do now on an annual basis, they report it out. That's where my staff goes to see how much housing units have been built in the county by various cities and the county as well, unincorporated as well.
Okay, so go to the state and then we have access to that and
Yes.
we could develop a report just
Yes.
based on Clark County.
Yes.
The other thing I was wondering about is transportation. And I know that on 179th, with all of the development that's occurring there, there's been a lot of questions about the adequacy of relying on for the people who are living there now. And this is going to be going on for a good decade, and having to be dependent upon development to complete the sidewalks or the roads or whatever, that there's a disparity there. And I don't know if there's anything within the code, and I've talked to Ken later. I've talked to several people about this, but I think if there is a way to, understand, if we can learn from the 179th experience, if there's things that could be applied to the transportation rules. So I'm just, you don't have to answer now, but I'm just saying that would be a desire and I think helpful as we're developing some of these areas to the higher and higher densities that they have to, the residents that are moving in and the residents that are there are relying on, I think, an inadequate road system.
Yes, you're correct, Councillor. One of the things that we do sometimes in working with Public Works and then the council supporting that is doing circulation plan and sub-area plan in some cases where we really deep down and look at what is happening on the ground and what can we do planning on that narrow area to not only circulation plan, but if that will result in changes in land use. When that comes up, we work with Public Works, we come before the council and get authority to do that. If you recall, the 179 area was in urban holding for a long time. And there was pressure to reduce that urban holding. I won't say it was premature, but we did work with the council at the time and came to a conclusion that there was projects at the time was reasonably funded to reduce the urban holding. And we have been learning things since that lifting of the urban holding. I wouldn't say again that it's premature because, as you know, the urban holding was in place for more than over 10 years. And there was a requirement to do a circulation plan for the 179. That was one of the first things that was done. Projects takes time, as you know, to be built. But it doesn't mean that when those projects are completely built, that it will eventually alleviate congestion and other level of services. But the 179 is unique in that you have the interchange, which is a state project, and we want to work. I can't speak for Ken, but I know we want to work hand in hand with the state because you don't want the county to do some road project only to rip it off when the state comes. So you want to make sure that things are sequenced so that people will be very frustrated because they're not seeing those projects come online quickly. But we do do circulation plan, let folks know that as this area develops, this is how circulation and related transportation issues are going to be addressed. But it's a good learning for all of us as we look at the 179. And, this is what we say that, not editorial on my part, but, growth costs. Yeah, infrastructure is key, and it takes time to come online. As I was saying this morning, when your selection of your preferred will get us into identifying how can we pay to support that plan. And that's where the cost comes in. When we did the 07 plan, believe it or not, the transportation bill was over 1 billion just on transportation alone to support the 2007 plan. You could imagine where would that come from? We have to go back and reassess whether we need all those roads. Ken can talk about that, but that's often what happens. We said we stepped back, to be honest with you, and reassessed all the projects that was on this 20-year list. And I was here, we had to scale it back because there is no 1 billion to pay for all the transportation. How was the cost to support the plan just on transportation alone?
Thank you. I'm not expecting specific answers, but I did want to raise it as a cautionary tale that we can use going forward, and maybe a cautionary tale as we move forward with the comp plan, because we look at infrastructure at the very end of this process. So it's good we're either planning for that, or if we don't plan for that, there's communities that will suffer because we don't have an adequate system in place. So other than that, I think it's a great, great work plan.
Thank you.
Yep.
I have a couple things that if you don't add now, I think we'll probably be asking you to add at some point. One would be development of a TDR program. Two would be PBRA. What's that? The first one? PBRA, the public benefit.
Yeah, it's good for the public that we're
Oh, yeah, sorry.
helping with the
Yes, thank
acronyms.
you.
Thank you.
And then I don't know which departments would be involved, but it looks like we're probably looking at the road mod process and how we can improve that, and whether that means changes to the road code or not, we'll see. And the last thing is, and this would be like a placeholder because they are not there yet, but I'm looking forward to some recommendations coming out of the ag advisory community that I think that we as a council will ultimately want to be working on in the coming year. So looking forward to it.
Okay. Noted. Thank you. Yeah, these are really noble projects. I know that the council, you're not asking me to respond, but I know that council have had multiple work sessions with the county assessor Peter Van Notwyk on the public rating system. I read that this morning as we were talking about ag. TDR, transfer of development right or purchase of development right. You have had a work session on that. You heard from the consultant, people that do this type of work. They're telling us it would take about 2+ years to put a TDR program together. So, and then road mod, I know that it may require another look. It might not be in my shop, but my shop, my transportation planning staff are playing a role in review of that. We have to revisit that. If it leads to taking a hard look at the current road standards, it may be the best route to go. In my view, the Art Commission newly formed, I know that they're having a retreat. Not today? Yeah, they're having a retreat today to really go over what is it that they would like to work on going forward. And I'm sure they likely will share that with council in the future. So these are real worthwhile pursuing project, but I'll just leave it at that. If after the adoption of the plan, which is my top priority now, and the council as well, all these projects can come into play, and you can add it in 2027. I'll say
Those are
begin-
just four little things. Pat.
yeah, yes. And remember, you did, I have it on here, you did extend the annual reviews and docket to the end of this year. So with the completion of the periodic review, my staff will begin to open that up again. Again, it's required by law, as you know, to provide for once a year annual reviews and docket, and that is always ongoing, because the plan is not written on stone. You got to look at it and make amendments. So that will begin right after the adoption of the plan.
And if I can just share really quick, so some of the work has already started. So road mod process, April here has already started reviewing it. I know Public Works has already started to look at their road code and possibly bring back some recommendations on changes that will help with that. The public benefit rating system, I'm trying to figure out what options council will have if our assessor doesn't want to participate in that process, because that's really heavily involved in his department. So I'll bring back some options to council when I get some clarity on that.
I think related to that, I think there's the development of the program, and then there's implementation of the program. So I think development of the program, a lot of work has occurred. Maybe there's a significant amount of work still that needs to be done. But understanding what implementation is, because I think if there's a way to look at those functions separately, so we could get that program framed up, and hopefully the implementation would not be too onerous.
Yeah, understood. And then just on the TDR program, and I know you prefaced that we'll need a majority of the council to support moving that forward. So we appreciate the feedback, but I just want to make sure that that was clear for today's discussion and moving forward.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Okay, I think with that, thumbs up on the work plan. Thank you very much. I know you all have been putting in a lot of work.
Yeah, thank you very much. I see my good friend Ken is online, but thank you, Ken. Thank you, councillors.
Thank you. Okay, moving on with our agenda 5.2, CTRAN board member. As I think we all know at this point, the board makeup committee has recommended 4-3-2 board makeup, the three being three county councilors. Currently, Councilor Fuentes and myself serve on the CTRAN board with Councilor Belcott as the alternate. But what I would like to suggest is we take nominations for who would be serving in that third position. And I would like to nominate Councilor Young.
So I'm not going to even be considered, even though I'm an alternate.
I think you could be considered if you're nominated.
Sure.
Yes, go ahead.
I nominate Councilor Belcott. And if we have two people that accept the nomination, I think we should hear from both. I'm interested in having anyone serve who's the most interested, and it'll be a hard decision.
So I'll just say that I'd be happy to serve as the alternate.
So there's been a nomination for Counselor Belcott, and there's been a nomination for Counselor Young. So you're declining the nomination?
As a primary, yeah. I
Okay.
just have a workload that cannot take on another assignment at this point.
Okay. So I guess we can vote, but it seems like there's only one candidate running at this point, and that would be Counselor Belcott.
And I will just say a few words. I've been involved in transportation boards and committees since I was elected. That was actually part of my candidacy. I've always had a lot of interest in transportation because I took light rail for years into downtown Portland on and off. I also took C-Tran as well. So I have actual experience riding both modes of transportation.
Sure.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you for that. And I love how we do it at the beginning of the year where we just kind of decide it's just by unanimous decision. So I'd like to see if we have unanimous here. Otherwise, I suppose we could vote, but I'd rather just do it the way
I
that.
just do have one question. So, and Counselor Belcott, sorry. We're working on our rules of procedure, and one of the parts that we plan to implement, or at least there's been the suggestion, or hasn't been the public hearing and final decision, but we all know what we're talking about here. And so my question is, if the collective council does give our C-Tran reps direction, how do you intend to handle that?
Well, that, as you know, it's not part of the rules and procedures and never has been for the Clark County Council. You are trying to adopt a City of Vancouver rule or procedure that has never been something for us. And like I have said on many instances, why even get elected if we have to vote in collaboration? I represent my district. Why are you D1? Why would you even bother representing D1? What would even be the purpose of a counselor getting elected if they would just go along with another group of people? That's not democratic.
Well, it is the council's purview to assign individuals to that seat. And I think part of this discussion is when we make the decision on who to place that board or place on that board, if there is a time when the entirety of the council weighs in, to me, whether we place them on that board or not, it hinges on that person's willingness to listen to the entirety of the council. It's different for boards and commissions that people are elected to, but when they're appointed, it is at the purview of the council, the body that does those assignments. So you're correct. It is not currently in our rules of procedure, but I anticipate it likely will be here shortly. So my question is, if it's adopted into the rules of procedure, do you intend to follow that?
You anticipate it will be? You haven't heard from the constituents or the public hearing where the constituents will talk. But if you take a look at social media, people have been very clear in a bipartisan level how they feel about light rail. And if you
I didn't ask about light rail. I asked what your intention would be if that situation arose.
In
Which
terms of how you
situation?
would vote, if the council took a position to direct a vote on C-Tran, would you follow that or not?
No, it's not part of our rules and procedures. This is not a dictatorship.
I believe we have case law at this point.
Which is basically federal judge didn't agree with OPMA. So there is no existing really OPMA. You all can just do what you want.
Okay, I think we should vote on this. I guess the nomination is for Counselor Belcott, and let's just do a roll call here.
Counselor Young,
No.
Counselor Little,
Aye.
Chair Marshall,
No.
Counselor Belcott,
Oh, Counselor Belcott.
Counselor Belcott.
Aye.
Okay, Motion does not carry. I think we'll have to wait and bring this back when we have a full council. Okay, moving on to councilor reports, boards and commission reports.
Chair,
Yes.
you mentioned workload recently. Had 4 meetings this month. And I already mentioned the RDPO and Board of Health, so I don't need to go on to that. But I did want to have a quick update with the Accessible Community Advisory Commission. I wanted to thank our Parks Department. I believe it was Parks that was there, at least somebody from Public Works that was there and brought them up to speed on the Heritage Farm project and solicited their input and feedback on that. So that was a good conversation to take place. And again, just wanted to thank staff for doing that. And then the CAB did meet, but I don't really have anything that I need to report with that. Same thing with Clean Water Alliance. But I also did want to comment again. I was able to attend the Rose Village Neighborhood Association. And again, I think it's been probably about a year since I've been able to attend that one. And great to see county staff leadership in their neighborhood. So we have Eric that serves as the chair from our Clean Water Division. So good to see that in action. But that's all the reports I have for this week.
Great, thanks. Anyone else? Okay, then moving on to work session requests.
None today.
Okay, policy updates. Hi, Jordan.
Good afternoon, Council. For the record, Jordan Bogie, Senior Policy Analyst. Great to be here with you this afternoon. Just a couple of legislative updates for you today. My hope is that as the governor signs legislation and as things move forward, I can update you on some of the bills that are going to be impacting the county in a way that is manageable and bite-sized for you, doing this kind of week by week. So just a couple of updates that I wanted to provide today. The first is that the condo liability bill that the council supported, House Bill 2304, that did pass and the governor has signed it. And as you'll recall, what that bill does is it allows for what's called a 210 warranty for condominium units. And so this is kind of more a blanket warranty. And the hope is that it will allow for more condominium development because folks won't be so worried about some of the onerous insurance requirements or for getting sued quite so frequently. And so allows for hopefully a little bit more stability in the condo warranty market. And it does apply to buildings that contain 12 or fewer units and that are 4 or fewer stories. So hopefully that will make it a little bit easier for condo development to occur. And if not, I imagine the legislature will be back taking a swing at condos again, as they have over the last few sessions. And then the other update I wanted to give you was on House Bill 2442, so 2442. And this was the kind of omnibus local government revenue toolkit bill. We're still waiting on the governor to sign it. So there's always a potential that maybe a portion could get vetoed, but there are some important pieces in this bill, and it does quite a few things that basically give you all and the county some different tools in our tool belt in terms of some of the different ways that we can raise revenue, some of the ways that revenue can be used, and then also for some of the other tools that the counties have. So just to kind of talk through a few of those items, it gives more flexibility for how we can use REIT 2 funds. In particular, those funds can be used for abatement of nuisance properties. Before that was not the case. There is a new optional 0.1% sales tax for children and family services that counties can enact. It lengthens the timing limits for levy lid lifts. So you can do a 1-year lift for 2 consecutive years now, or for a longer levy lid lift, the timing on that is extended up to 10 years for the longer term levy lid lift. It also allows for a new property tax that can be imposed for public health clinics. It allows for rental car sales tax revenue. I'm not sure how much we have in the county, but Any sales tax on rental car revenue can be used for public safety purposes. And then the bill also, and this is a decision that council will have to make coming out of this, if assuming that the governor signs this bill, is that the veterans and mental health and developmental disabilities sub-levies that currently exist underneath the general fund levy, there is now the option for counties to pull those out of the general fund as sub-levies, and you can make them basically their own separate property tax levies. And so this basically would mean that, so right now, we raise a certain amount of money in the general fund, and then a portion of that revenue that would have otherwise gone to the general fund is going to those sub-levies. And so if you pull that money out, you sort of separate it out, but the total overall property tax burden will rise by whatever the amount of that sub-levy is. And then, so let's say it's $1 million. You know, that $1 million now is just dedicated in those separate sub-levies, but that is also $1 million in the general fund that would now be in there that previously was earmarked for those specific funds. So, so pulling them out does represent a overall property tax increase, but it increases into the general fund, and then there's a flexibility in terms of you have those other dedicated funds now. And the other piece of that you all should know as you're thinking about this too is that the bill increases the minimum property tax amount for the veterans levy to 1 1/8 cents. And because of the way that the county has in previous years not taken the 1% every year, and it's been a kind of a proportional amount, the current rate of the veterans levy is lower than 1 1/8 cents. And so even if the council decides not to pull out the sub-levies into their own levy, the amount of money that's going to go into the veterans levy, whether it's still a sub-levy or a new levy, will increase. And you can do it up to 27 cents, which a 27-cent mill rate would be raise a pretty significant amount of money. I haven't done the math on that, but so the veterans levy can be between 1 1/8 cents and up to 27 cents per this bill. So I know there's going to be a lot of discussions. I know there's a work session planned with the Veterans Advisory Board coming up in about a month. They're working on their work plan for veteran services in the county. I think these conversations are going to be ongoing, but just want to flag that for you as something that this is a decision point that's going to be coming to you this year with this bill passing.
Question for you on this. So basically now it's codified now essentially that the minimum would be 1 1/8 cent.
Correct.
Okay. And so our options at this point are to continue to have that come out of the general fund or to separate that into its own category. Okay. And then what is, and now it can go up to 27 cents. What is the mechanism? Does it remain the same? Do we have the Veterans Advisory Board advising the council, and the council makes the final decision on what their budget is and what that tax would be, what the millage rate would be?
That is my understanding.
Okay. Wow, that changes quite a bit. This is a big win for veterans for sure.
Thank you. I imagine we'll hear more as we get to points in the budget development to explore some of these options. And I think with the veterans, because it would be good to understand what their needs are and how much any of these options might raise, and do that well in advance of the final budget adoption, because often, you know, those sub levies were decided at the adoption without a lot of discussion in advance. So that would be good to roll that out in a way we can all understand.
One more question. Is it still that all three of them have to be together? So do we pull are we required to pull all three of them out, or can you do one of the three or two or whatever?
That is a good question. I need to go back and look because the language is permissive. So it says that you may pull out these sub levies I would need to go get clarity on whether you can pull out just the veterans, for instance, and leave mental health and developmental disabilities underneath the general fund levy, or whether if you pull out one, you got to pull them all out. The way that my initial read of the bill is that you probably could leave some under the general fund levy and pull some out just because of how the language is permissive. But I would want to go back and double check that to make sure.
And that decision, historically, it's an individual decision now. So it's not, like between the flat and the proportional rate, it's an individual decision for all three of them. So you could have done proportional for one and flat rate for another.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, yeah.
those are
So now it
already
doesn't have to be
individual.
the same for all three categories.
Well, they didn't have to be all the same before.
Oh, they didn't?
No.
Oh, I didn't
It's-
realize
Yeah,
that.
they're
Okay.
individual council decisions. And just so council knows, the veterans work session is scheduled on the 29th. And I do think that it's in the best interest if council were to make that decision prior going into our full budget work session so that we can get our documents
Yeah.
up to date and accurate forecasting done too.
Yeah, I agree.
And I've also heard from the assessor's office and the treasurer's office, because there's a lot of mechanical things they would need to do if this change was made. So giving them some runway to get that done before the start of next year would be good. And those are my two updates for you just today.
Okay. I wanted to follow up with you because I sent you something. There's a proclamation request. So I don't know if you want to talk about that or I can talk about that, and the council can decide if they want to decide on that request today or bring it forward next Wednesday. I'm prepared to talk about it.
You're prepared, Chair? Why don't you go ahead and I can
Okay,
support if you'd like.
Great. Well, I received a request from Rabbi Greenberg for a proclamation on Education and Sharing Day USA, which is marked on March 29th, 2026. And I checked with him, and if we do it after the 29th is too soon for us to take any kind of action, that we could have a proclamation following that. But it was recognized by the Congress and the White House in 1978 when it was established to raise awareness and strengthen education of our children around the country, and also recognize the achievements of Rabbi Schneerson, who worked for the betterment of education for all Americans. So this is something that's important to them, and I think we can, I don't know if people are prepared now or if something could be provided next week that people want to make a decision on having a proclamation related to Education and Sharing Day. Council? Oh, okay.
So
The thumb was
just
up and
to
then down and then.
kind of back to our rules of procedure, this is a timeliness issue. Did I understand that correctly?
Well, we'll miss the timeliness because the request came in so late. And
Okay.
so at that point, if we're near, that could be a timely issue, or we could discuss it further. It's up to the council.
Chair,
Yes.
could I suggest, so maybe I can bring a draft next Wednesday to council time, because the
That sounds
next
good.
council meeting is not until April 21st. And so there's time to bring it back at a council time. It won't be able to be
okay.
read
So
until,
we have plenty of time.
yeah, we have some
Yeah.
runway. So
Okay, that sounds good. So yeah, I think that would be good. Bring it back next Wednesday with a draft and we can take it from there. Thank you very much. Okay, executive session,
None today.
none today. Okay, so without objection, we've completed our agenda and we are adjourned.